Hi, I'm Jill Galloway. I'm an artist educator at the Smithsonian's National Portrait Gallery. In today's open studio lesson, we're going to look at some portraits of Chief Joseph, and then we're going to try our hand at bead making in honor of his nation's bead making traditions. But first, let's look at the biography and the portraiture of Chief Joseph. Let's get started. Chief Joseph was born into the Nez Perce Nation in 1840. His Nez Perce name is Hinma Tuyulaket, which means thunder rolling down the mountain. He was the son of the Wallowa Band chief. Chief Joseph grew up on land his father negotiated from the U.S. government. Once gold was discovered on the Nez Perce lands, the government wanted to renegotiate a new treaty, which gave way less land to the Nez Perce. When Joseph was 31, his father died, making him the chief. He decided to move his band to Canada to avoid war with the U.S. military. Chief Joseph walked with his people 1,400 miles, but just before they got to the border and to safety, they were captured and forced to surrender. He said, "I'm tired of fighting, I'm tired. My heart is sick and sad. From where the sun now stands, I will fight no more forever." After surrendering, the Nez Perce were forced to live on a reservation. Chief Joseph spent the rest of his life fighting for the rights of his people. Notice the beautiful beadwork in this portrait. There's a lot of meaning in the clothing worn by native peoples, and those from the Great Plains region where Chief Joseph came from are known for their beadwork. The Nez Perce traditionally used porcupine quills like you see here in the blue shoulder sections, bone tubes, and human and horse hair like you see in these tassels, and glass beads which they got through trading. Their beadwork is a form of cultural expression and was woven into earrings, necklaces, bracelets, and many parts of their clothing. Today, we'll be making beads out of clay, so this is a little bit different than the Nez Perce beads, but still within the same artistic theme. The supplies you'll need for today's lesson are some modeling clay, a thin stick to make a hole in the bead, and something to string the beads up with. To make a bead with just one color, roll out the clay into a thin strip and then cut it into small sections. Roll each section into a little ball and put a hole through the center of the ball. To make a multicolored bead, add thin strips of additional colors to your main strip and roll it out into a long tube. Repeat cutting the small sections and rolling the clay into little balls. If you're using air-dry clay, let the beads dry overnight before you string them up. Try different shapes and sizes, or even sculpt something like a small animal. Here's some samples of beadwork from some of the portraits within our collection. Chief Joseph is wearing a war shirt. This shirt embodies layers of spiritual and military meanings. These kinds of shirts were worn during ceremonial occasions and very rarely, if at all, in battle. After his nation was captured, Chief Joseph spent the next 8 years incarcerated in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. This is where this portrait was made. To take a closer look at any of our portraits of Chief Joseph, you can first go to our website at www.mpg.si.edu and under Portrait Search, look up the name Chief Joseph. You can also go to the Smithsonian's Learning Lab at learninglab.si.edu and there type in Chief Joseph's name and search. There you'll find a lot of fantastic resources for discovery. Thanks so much for joining me for today's Open Studio lesson. I hope you enjoyed the bead making. I would love to see your results. If you wouldn't mind posting images of your beads on social media with the hashtag MyNPG, then we can all check it out. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.